Alright guys, so I want to react to this today because I thought this was actually really cool. JPA posted this. This is all 31 commanders went on the list. Most loyal fan bases from the most loyal to the least loyal. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So starting off right away, it's always interesting when it comes to loyalty of fan bases because listen, I know for example, whodey Nation, I love whodey Nation. I love the culture. I love the fans. I love just, what they represent. And yes, they do represent very much loyalty and, being part of the whodey Nation. And, hey, listen, I haven't been whodey Nation for the longest, but I am honored to even be a part of it. And I am amazed how amazing it is. Nonetheless, though, and not every single fan base like that, right? So that's why, for example, the Commanders right here, they're not even on the list. Now, the Commanders, I feel like they've been very loyal to the fans. It was just Dan Snyder that really, oh, sorry, to the fans, to the team. I just feel like it was Dan Snyder that really ruined everything and made it to a point where it's like it was toxic to even be a Commanders fan. So I don't really agree that they shouldn't be on this list here. I think that they were very loyal to the Redskins, but the problem is, again, it's just Dan Snyder really ruined it, right? And it is a one bad apple can spoil a bunch. Dan Snyder was the one bad apple. So I will definitely say I'm on the fence about that. But again, not every single team fan base is loyal because listen, at the end of the day, like for example, the LA Rams, when they went from, St. Louis, well, they went actually from LA Rams, right? They back in the day, they were Los Angeles Rams. Then they went to St. Louis. Then they went back to LA. When they went back to LA, there's a lot of St. Louis Rams fans that said, you know what? We're done with this team. They left us. We don't care. We'll find another team. And especially because a lot of times they can't. The St. Louis cannot watch the LA Rams because they're out of market. So then when they went back to LA, there was some older fans that really liked them still because they used to like them back in the day. But a lot of fans, who live in LA, let's be honest, LA, Los Angeles, it's a very, rich city, I will say. A lot of people who live there are celebrities or higher status people, or they're just people who don't go to football games. So it was like kind of like that fan base where it's like, yes, they have a fan base, but it's not as loyal. And you're gonna see this if you watch a Rams game where the audience is not packed in the stadium. If you watch a Packers game or the Packers when they travel, or whodey Nation when they travel, the whole stadium is filled with those fans because they love their team. While you look at the LA Rams, LA Chargers, and you're like, whoa, there's like nobody in this stadium. It's all other team fans because again, the fan bases aren't that loyal. Now, let's get right into it. So number 31 is the Cleveland Browns. Now this actually is surprising because I feel like the dog pound is always insane. I've been to a couple Cleveland Brown games and the dog pound was always insane. I mean, no matter when I went, where I went, it didn't matter if it was in Baltimore, if it was in uh, Cincinnati, if it was in Cleveland. The dog pound was always crazy. I had been punched like 3 or 4 times by members of the dog pound. So, I'm surprised that they're 31 on this list because I thought they were very loyal to the team. I guess majority of the fan base is not loyal, and I guess there's just a select few that are very loyal to their fan base. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, I understand the Cleveland Browns to a certain degree. They were 2 year stretch where they didn't even win a game. So I guess a lot of fans did that, but it's so weird because they call, I mean, literally the Hall of Fame's in Canton, Ohio, and they say that Cleveland is a football city. So I'm very surprised that they come in at 31 here. I really thought they were higher on this list. I'll say one thing, and the one thing I got to give Browns fans is based on what I have seen and I've known, they are very loyal to their fan base. They're very loyal to the team. Like that's not a team that I look at and say, oh yeah, this is not like they're loyal. But I'm surprised they're in 31 here. I think that's kind of crazy. The Saints. So really, who that nation is 30? I guess it makes a little bit of sense. See, Tampa Bay makes perfect sense because, listen, it is nice weather there. It's Florida. Usually you're on the beaches. People there don't want to go to football games. You don't want to sit in a stadium with a bunch of other people and feel like cramped and sweaty. You want to be at the beach. You want to be in the sun. You want to be shopping. So I understand that one. New England Patriots, yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. because 90% of the fans that are fans of them were only fans when they were winning, and they were winning Super Bowls on the Tom Brady. And a lot of fans after, by the way, the most insufferable fans, but after they lost Tom Brady, a lot of those fans became Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. So I agree with that. Carolina Panthers fan, they're a newer franchise. They're a transition franchise. So I understand that kind of concept. I understand why there might not be as loyal fans for them. And then again, when they did get the franchise, they started doing very well very quickly. They went to the Super Bowl. I think, what was it? It was a bowl against the Patriots. I know the Eagles did. I think the Panthers did too. So yeah, so it's like they started off very, very well. Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, this concept makes sense because you gotta keep in mind that with the Indianapolis Colts, before the Indianapolis Colts, they were the Baltimore Colts. And when they were the Baltimore Colts, a lot of the Baltimore fans, I mean, they still hate till today. They still hate Robert Irsay, which is actually Jim's dad. So Jim Irsay right now is the owner. He's the son. They hate Robert Irsay. And Robert Irsay, if you do not know the story, pretty much what happened is he wanted a new stadium. But the problem was he was an old bitter drunk, and his son's actually like a cocaine addict. But his father was an old bitter drunk, and he was a reckless guy. He was a piece of crap. And pretty much what happened is he wanted a new stadium, and the city of Baltimore said no. They're like, you're not worth us building a new stadium. The team isn't good, and you're not a good owner. So they said, and then he threatened to move the team out of Baltimore and move it to move to Indianapolis. And the city of Baltimore said, okay, you want to do that? We're going to put a law out that says you're not allowed to move. Guess what? You can't move. So he moved the team, and the law went into effect the next day, right? So he moved the team that same day at 2 a.m. in the morning, got kids from the college nearby to load up Mayflower trucks and move every single thing out of the city of Baltimore over to Indianapolis. He did that the same night. Yeah. So a lot of Colts fans, there is this newer fans because that happened in the 1980s. So a lot of the Colts fans were really just either they were really just Colts fans that were people living in Indianapolis. Because a lot of Baltimore fans, before they got the Ravens, they actually went ahead and started liking the Dolphins. Because Don Shula, the coach for the Baltimore Colts, went over there to the Miami Dolphins. A lot of other fans became Commanders fans. Supposedly not on the list. Or Redskin fans, whatever. Arizona Cardinals, they're a newer franchise. That makes sense. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't agree with this. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are very, very loyal. They're annoying. They're harassing. They're freaking awful people. But the Squealers are very, very loyal to their team. I mean, now you might say, well, a lot of fans liked them when they were Steel Curtain back in the 80s, and that's why that nowadays they just don't like them because, it's just not as loyal as used to be. I don't know. I have been to 1,000 Squealer games in my life. And one thing I will say, even when I was 10 years old, 10 years old, guys, I have been cussed out, I've been pushed, I've been shoved, I've been not beaten, but almost beaten by Squealer fans. And I'm talking about grown men who are 40, 50, 60 years old. So I am highly against the idea that they're not loyal. They're crazy, they're insane, they're psychopathic, but I think they're very loyal. Seattle Seahawks, a newer franchise. I agree with that. They do have the 12th man mentality, but I agree with that. See, this is crazy. 22 is the Green Bay Packers. I think that's just ridiculous. Green Bay is probably the most loyal fan base in the NFL. Now, you might say, well, it's because they had 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It is what it is. I mean, they did. They had Aaron Rodgers. They had Brett Favre. I guess, and they had Bart Starr. So, and then they had 2 back-to-back Hall of Famers, going back-to-back there. But I don't know. I think overall wise, they're a very loyal fan base. Chicago, I agree with that. Tennessee, they can go to heck. You're lucky don't cuss on this channel, Tennessee. And again, a lot of these was Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers fans hated when they moved to Tennessee. And they even stole and brought back their uniform this year. The Houston Oilers, or what the Tennessee Titans did of the Houston Oilers. Yeah, I mean, I know, I guess technically it's their uniform, but Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, I think, again, they're in a new city. They just moved. I know a couple years ago at this point. by Oakland Raiders fans. They were so upset when that happened. But you got to keep in mind that Oakland, I mean, literally, the Raiders have such a long history. They started in LA. Well, they started in Oakland, right? Then they went to LA, became the LA Raiders. Then they went back to Oakland. And then they went to Las Vegas. So they went through so many different changes that, yeah, their fan bases probably got scrambled up a bit. Baltimore is the same concept. They went from the Baltimore Colts to the Baltimore Ravens. So a lot of Baltimore fans back in the day, way back in the day when they were the Colts, did not start liking the Ravens. They actually started liking other teams. Like I said before, Don Shula going to the Dolphins. They started liking the Redskins. So it makes sense that maybe a lot of them did not start liking them. Even though, it was a new ownership, you had Art Modell, who took over for the Baltimore Ravens, other than, having Robert Irsay or Jim Irsay, you actually had a new, owner, but still. And then, obviously, after Art Modell passed away, it was Steve Bisciotti. But still, though, you had a lot of fans there. Atlanta Falcons fans, okay, top 16. Houston Texans fans, that's actually interesting. They're number 16 here because they are a newer franchise. So you wouldn't expect that. But I'll be honest, the state of Texas loves their football teams. They love the Dallas Cowboys. We already know that. They also love the Houston Texans. Denver Broncos, yeah, I think it's, ironically enough, a reason why Baltimore lost their team was because of John Elway refusing. John Elway said he wanted to play pro baseball, then go play football for the Baltimore Colts. So, and a lot of it was because he hated Robert Irsay. But anyway, though, so yeah, I think a lot of fans started becoming fans when they got John Elway back in the 80s. And then, of course, they had, Ronnie Lott. They had Brian Dawkins at one point. They had Champ Bailey for the longest time. I forget. No, Ronnie Lott was 49ers. So, yeah, a lot of fans became fans at that time. Brandon Perna. Los Angeles, the Rams and the Chargers. I'm surprised that they're this high up on this list. I'll be honest with you. But again, like I said, I guess you could make the argument, well, the Rams have St. Louis fans that, started liking LA, or continue liking the Rams and supported LA. It's just that their stadiums are never sold out. And they have the best stadium in the NFL because it's brand new. The Chargers fans, that's actually really surprising too, because back when they were with San Diego, they still really didn't sell out their stadiums as much. They had a smaller stadium. And then after they left that stadium because it got demolished, they went to a soccer stadium before they could go to the Coliseum. So I'm very surprised that they're high on this list like this. Miami Dolphins, yeah, I mean, they won 2 Super Bowls. Larry Kazanka, yeah. Dallas Cowboys, they should be top 5. Delusional fans. Detroit Lions, it's funny. Based on everything I've heard from Detroit Lions fans, it's always, we love our team, we love our city, we love our fans, but we suck. I get it. New York Jets fans, yeah, they're like one of the most loyal fans in the NFL. Giants fans, 100%. Vikings fans, yeah. Chiefs fans, surprisingly enough, I agree with this because, yes, while they most recent success with Patrick Mahomes, they actually have very loyal fans over the years. Jacksonville Jaguar fans, newer franchise, which is interesting, but okay. Buffalo Bills, 1,000%. They are one of the most loyal fan bases in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers, yeah, but they won 5 Super Bowls, so there's a reason why. Philadelphia Eagles, probably the worst fan base in the NFL, but yes, the most loyal. And finally, whodey nation. Let's go, baby. Yeah, this makes sense. We are the best fan base in the NFL. We're the number 1 fan base in the NFL. Absolutely freaking love it. Whodey. Let's go, baby. Yeah. But overall wise, I will say, personally speaking, not really the most. Do I agree with this list? I mean, there are some I do agree with. Some I don't really agree with that much, but it is what it is, guys. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.